Well, hello and welcome to another Tarot Chat with Jay. I'm doing a VR to three fat readers. That's Lisa, Dustin, and Danny. And the hashtag to end 2022 is hashtag 22 double take. So it's 7 questions and we get 2 responses for each question, which is super fun, very numerical, really alchemaic, very clever. So I'm excited. The first question is 2 decks that were my most used in 2022. Arthur Rackham Tarot. I use Rider Waite Smith systems, so most of the decks that we'll be looking at are variations on those. These are just so readable, dark and dreary. I just like them for so many times of the year. They're pencil drawn, illustrative, late 1880s, so they also have great keywords that I've written on them when I went through the Tarot training wheel system, and they just are such they're clear, but they're mysterious. They make me take a minute and look and reassess what I'm looking at, but they're a very clear read, so they're a great ambassador deck for a lot of other decks. The second deck that I chose for this is Catwell Stein's Tarot of Mystical Moments. I just always go back to these. They're so pretty. They make me work, they make me look, because, for example, Knight of Swords, she doesn't have a sword, she has a feather, because that talks about the power of speech. Her dress is printed with feminist rights, printing that was contemporaneous to the time. She's on a feather, so you really have to look at what you're looking at. So the Knight of Swords, she's here with rather than a sword, she has a needle, and she sews stars onto her gown. The Queen of Pentacles doesn't hold a pentacle, but she holds flowers, and she's here in her garden. And as we can see here, so in the minors, the 6 of Cups, it's childhood nostalgia card. She doesn't actually have cups, but she has balloons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's, you have to get like nose to nose and walk into it a little bit to take account of what you're seeing. So I really like the 8 of Wands. It's not just 8 wands, it's umbrellas, but that if you take a minute and you get to rethink what you're looking at, it has such an accountability. So yeah, and just the images on those are so exquisitely beautiful. So those are the ones that I just came back to all the time in the year. The next question is 2 new favorite decks from 2022 to the joy to my collection this year. In the summer, Joie de Vivre, and that was just spectacular. Such a summery deck, such a chatty deck. And this was just so full of characters. These oranges and glowing yellows were just so solar and warm and welcoming. This is another deck that was just like, yes, I want to play with everyone in your collection, please. So I just paired it with everything. Used it so much. Got to know these little, oh, here's the chariot with these nautilus shells and the multitude of directions that this card's going in. One's heading that way, one's heading this way. The nautilus shells swirl in, and then they swirl in, and she's just there in the middle with this little grin going, all right, what's up, what's next? It's so audible, this deck. Didn't really, I'm looking over my collection. This is one of the decks that really sings to me. I can hear these little little songs that they play. Here's the sun. This is, oh, it's so cute. Two of Wands. And once again, she's swirling. She's adorable, and she's in all of these elements. Here's a spider, and that's earth. Here's an owl, and that's air. Here's this little fish that floats, and that's water. She's so fiery but earthy. It's kind of these overlayerings of a lot of alchemic symbols at once. So yeah, Joie de Vivre really totally took me by surprise. It's a Paulina Faye Cassidy, and the other deck that came new to my collection twice, because I bought a pirate deck by accident, and then I was able to buy the real deck, Chris Ann's Lightseers. And the thing that surprised me so much about this, both of these decks, both the Joie de Vivre and the Lightseers, really, and look how surprisingly beautiful those go together. Orange with green, not a combination you can usually get to work, but look at these little matches, and their eyes closed and their eyes open, and what kind of fabulous lessons do they have for me. Lightseers also, especially the court cards really hit it. The majors, here's the king right here, really had a lot of lessons for me. It's very people based, so coming, I guess, from last year, I think I was working a lot more numerology. I'm beginning to look at pips a little bit, but this was, and certainly in the winter, with runes and pips, and a little more of that cold frost line language. In the summer, I really found myself opening up to these people and their message and their song. And surprisingly, the runes were in this deck as well. There are a lot of symbols swirled around her, but this was just such a nice sort of gateway deck for me this summer that I was so surprised with. I also see this beautiful swirling nautilus in Mystical Moments, which we looked at as well earlier. So it just really, it was so surprising and lovely, and welcome to the collection. Next we look at some favorite books. This was very interesting. I found in 2022, because I got COVID at one point, sometime around August and October, in that area, and then I recently just came out of a wicked bad flu in the November-December area. I found myself reading a lot less than I have previously. So I found myself reading the little books that came, the guidebooks that came with a lot of cards. The book that I carry in my bag and read is Lovecraft short stories, including the Shadow over Innsmouth, The Festival, Transition of Juan Romero, and In the Walls of Eryx, which I actually used to flip by because it was so ghost written and it was a science fiction, and there was something just really disturbing about it that I found unsettling. I settled into it this year and read it a couple of times on repeat, and like everything Lovecraft, I separate the art from the artists. I give grace, I embrace providence, and freaking loved it. The other book that I found myself coming out of fever dreams and reading again heavily is The Holy Wild. It's Daniel Dolsky, and this is a book that speaks directly to me. It has meditations, it has rituals, it has information. It goes not only by season, but by compass point and elements, and that's a really good place for me to always go back to, always touch base with, always touch ground. And that was a book that I really enjoy a lot, so it was exciting to go back into this one. we move on to question number 4, movies and TV shows. I have two. One is it's on YouTube. It's a podcast, but it's also filmed. It's called Fall of Civilizations. There are 16 episodes, and each one's the Fall of Civilization. Of course, I started with Fall of Britain. It begins with poetry from an Anglo-Saxon poem that's written around the 6th century called The Fall, which has been burned and crisped, and you only get little bits and words, but it's exquisitely gorgeous. Each one is like 2 hours, and I actually watch them 3 ways. You can watch them with the sound on and the vision on, the film on, and they're exquisitely filmed, so gorgeous, drone shots, just so beautiful. You can watch them with the sound off, just visually in the background, if you're throwing tarot or sewing or doing meditation or anything else and you just want a visual treat. Or you can just play them in the background if you're in the other room washing dishes, or you just need something to fall asleep to or glean information. There is one on the fall of India, a 3,000-year-old civilization. There's one on Benin. There's one on Angkor Wat. There's one on Easter Island or Rakanoa, which just completely changed the narrative and taught me so much history. And oh my God, they're just so good. All right, that was for my high brain. For my low brain and even lower chakra points, I watched Harry and Meghan. Yes, I certainly did. Binge watched it on Netflix. It was really interesting. That one is comme ci, comme ça. Is it contrived? Yes. Is it truth-telling? Yes. Is it this paradoxical mix of everything? And yes, but is it yet another facet of stories that we saw woven in the past couple of years? Yes, it is. So that's what I've been watching. Do I recommend either of them? I recommend Fall of Civilization. Absolutely. We move on to question number 5, crafts and hobbies. This year I was able to do in-person sales. I do tarot, textiles, and I was able to do 3 sales this year with Key and Serpent Society. I was able to do an outdoor sale in the summer in Patuxent Village. I was able to do an indoor sale in October at the Providence Flea Through Witches Night Out Market in Providence. And then I was able to do a Key and Serpent at the Elks Club in Newport, and that was in November, I believe. So they were awesome. How do you know you're doing a sale at an Elks Club lodge? Because there are actual elks on the wall. So that was magical and mystical and so much fun to be able to talk to people about my work, and yeah, just crazy fun. To that end, I'm hoping to re-up my Etsy shop and get some King of Pentacle moments going and get everything all nice and crispy and clean. So we'll be hopefully linking that as well. So we move on to the next question. Oh, sorry. The other thing I really picked up as a hobby or a craft this year is I'm trying to up my recycling, trying to get my recycling going, recycle more, think about recycle, reuse, reduce. It's very Fae driven, and yeah, enough said about that. Yes, question number 6, splurges in 2022. They're decks. decks or deck experiences. So the first one is Pagan Otherworlds, and this was my splurge for Mother's Day for 2022. This is just such a Queen of Pentacles. That was it, in her beautiful pink gown, holding roses, wearing horns, entangled in brambles. It's so mystical and wonderful and beautiful. It has such an incredible feel and clarity and quietness, and it will ever be linked to my family going, yeah, it's for you, go ahead, press buy. Get this for yourself. Know that this World card, take the moment you need, take the clarity you need, take the pale blue sky behind you, sit with these luscious cards and contemplate. So what an amazing present, and I thank my family for allowing me the time and the patience to tarot. The second splurge was the deck and the book, and I was in the bookstore talking myself out of it, and my kid walked by and she said, oh, that looks interesting, and that was all it took, and I bought it. Also a splurge, lush linen, lovely Tarot of the Divine. Oh, here's the World Turtle card. Just so beautiful and lovely, and so many stories to learn, so much to study in this gorgeous deck of cards, and the wonderful guidebook that comes with it. And then on top of that, to make it extra divine, Beneath the Moon is this immensely beautiful book of the full story. Enkidu and Gilgamesh as the Two of Cups. It's just, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful depiction. Alrighty, we move on to, our last question number 7, 2 things that I'm excited about in the upcoming year for 2023. And they are I'm interested in studying the rune cards more. I want to dance the runes, make those movements when I can dance Lacus as a waterfall. I can understand it. I love running my rune cards, Runes of the Northern Light, with Everyday Witch. It's just such an exquisite little conversation between the two. Finding this combination really makes me want to study it more. And I also want to study spreads. The spreads that come in the books, the spreads that come with the cards, to open up a little bit, and more study in 2023, more grounding, more pentacles, and more beautiful moments like this, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been Jay. If you'd like to join this hashtag 22 double take. Thank you so much to 3 Fat Readers, and have a wonderful witching day, my friends. It's been Jay.